Hello everyone, this is Johanna Batman joining you from the Shaker Apple Orchard right across the way from the church family site here in Albany. So today we're going to explore a little bit of history and a little bit of cooking with the Shakers. These apple varieties that you see here, many of them are hundreds of years old, and this orchard itself was originally planted over 200 years ago. So in the very early days of the colonies, European settlers brought over apple trees and planted them in orchards. And those were also adopted by indigenous communities throughout the region. And the Haudenosaunee were actually well known for their incredible apple orchards, pears, peaches. Many of those historic orchards were burned during the Sullivan Campaign in 1779, but this Shaker example still survives from that same era. And during that time, the primary use of these apples would have been to make apple cider, as hard cider essentially. Many early immigrants were coming from dense populated cities where the water wasn't necessarily safe to drink, and so fermented beverages were considered a better alternative for your health. So it was often weaker than the cider we might enjoy today as adults. Additionally, cider vinegar and apple brandy were very important for preserving fresh foods for eating throughout the year. And additionally, the Shakers were very well known for their apple pie, and so many of these apples would have made their way into delicious pies, apple sauces, and apple butter treats. And in fact, it could be an alternative to white refined sugar, which at that time was much more expensive than it is today. So the apple varieties that you'll find today in the orchard are a little different from the ones that you might expect to find in the store. They're often a little lumpier and they have more imperfections. And that's because these apples were developed really first for flavor and for their preservation qualities. Modern apples are the product really of the innovation of railroads and long distance transport. So the qualities that growers started to look for was uniform shape and attractive color and thick skin and the durability to survive a long journey by train or later by truck. So many of these varieties sort of fell out of favor, became less cool, but they're enjoying a renaissance of sorts today. So to introduce you to a few of these varieties, behind us is one of my favorite names, the Roxbury Russet, which is named for Roxbury, Massachusetts. It's believed to be among the earliest and possibly the first American developed apple variety. So as we head down the line to the next tree, what you'll see here is a Wagner, and this is actually a New York State special. This is from Penn Yan, New York. It's a very delicious eating apple and also great for cooking. Finally, we'll head down a little bit further. All of these tree varieties are dwarf trees, so other standard sized trees could be twice as tall easily. But this last one, the Esopus Spitzenberg, a very dignified name for a very little tree. This is another New York State variety, and it was actually considered a favorite of Thomas Jefferson, and several of them were imported and grown on his property as well. Also a really delicious cooking and eating apple. So that's just a tiny preview of the history and the botany of this amazing orchard. So I hope that you'll take advantage and come visit us and check it out for yourself. Until then, take care. I'll see you soon.